Before we begin, I want you to do something simple. Don't look around. Don't check your phone. Just notice this. You're not listening alone. You never are. There's a strange comfort in believing our thoughts belong only to us, that the mind is private, sealed, separate. But if that were true, why do ideas spread faster than voices? Why do fears arrive in waves? Why do entire rooms fall silent at the same moment, as if something invisible just passed through? Episode 10 is not about monsters, not about ghosts, not even about possession. Tonight is about us, about the quiet truth we avoid naming, that humanity may not be a collection of individuals at all, but a single ancient vessel, learning how to speak through billions of mouths. You've felt it before, that sudden thought that didn't feel earned, that emotion that arrived without context, that certainty that felt older than you. We call it instinct, we call it intuition, we call it coincidence. But what if it's memory? What if consciousness isn't born inside us, but passes through us? Tonight's stories come from people who noticed the pattern too late, people who realized their thoughts weren't private drafts, but shared notes, people who understood that identity might just be a temporary assignment. As you listen, you may feel moments of recognition. You may feel agreement where there shouldn't be any. You may find yourself nodding before you know why. That's expected, because episode 10 doesn't ask who you are. It asks something far more dangerous. What are you helping to carry? If at any point you feel the urge to pause, to breathe, to reassure yourself that you're still you, don't let it pass. This is Mr. Haunting Whispers TV, and tonight we listen not as individuals, but as a chorus. My name is Caleb Rowe, and I grew up in a town that remembers something that never happened to me. At least, I don't think it did. I came back to Briar Hollow after 22 years away, long enough for roads to change, storefronts to rot, and memories to soften around the edges. My father had died in his sleep, peacefully, the coroner said, and left me the house on Alder Street, the one with the crooked porch step and the maple tree that dropped helicopters every fall. I hadn't planned to stay long, just sell the place, close the chapter. But on my first night back, something felt wrong. Not dangerous, not hostile, just familiar in a way that didn't belong to me anymore. I walked into the local diner the next morning, the Golden Finch, same as always. Same bell on the door, same vinyl booths cracked like dry skin. When the waitress saw me, her face lit up. "Well, look who finally came home," she said warmly. I smiled politely. "I think you've got me confused." She laughed. "Oh, honey, you don't forget a summer like that." I didn't ask what she meant. I should have. Instead, I noticed something strange. Everyone in the diner was looking at me. Not staring, watching, with the soft patience of people waiting for something to resume. The man at the counter nodded to me. The cook paused mid-motion. A kid near the window smiled like he recognized me. I left without eating. That afternoon, I ran into Mara Klein, my old neighbor. She hugged me hard, too hard. "God," she whispered, "you came back just like you promised." "I never promised anything," I said. She pulled back slowly, studying my face. "You don't remember?" "Remember what?" Her smile faltered, just for a second. "The summer," she said, "the one that changed everything." That phrase followed me, at the hardware store, at the post office, on the street, whispered like a prayer. The summer. That night, I dreamed of cicadas screaming so loudly I couldn't think. I
I dreamed of a field behind the school, tall grass bent by wind that smelled like rain and copper. Children laughing, running, and something else. Something standing just beyond the tree line. I woke with my heart racing and the taste of pennies in my mouth. The next day I went to the library. If Briar Hollow remembered something, I wanted proof. Old newspapers were stacked on microfilm, decades of births, bake sales, obituaries. I scanned through the years I'd lived there. Nothing unusual. No disasters, no missing children, no fires or floods. Until I noticed something stranger. The summer of 1998, the year I was 10, was barely there. Issues missing, articles clipped out, photos removed. Not destroyed, extracted. I asked the librarian, an elderly woman with trembling hands, about it. She looked at me for a long time before answering. "We don't keep those," she said. "Why?" "Because they hurt." That night, the dreams got clearer. I wasn't just watching anymore. I was there, bare feet on warm dirt, fireflies blinking like distant signals. 6 of us, sitting in a circle. I recognized them. Mara, Jonah, Elise, twins named Aaron and Adam, and me. Except, not quite. The boy in the dream looked like me, but thinner, sharper. His eyes held something hollow, like he was already leaving. In the center of the circle was a hole, not dug, opened. Darkness pressed up from it like breath. "We promised," the boy said. The others nodded, terrified but determined. The thing in the hole stirred. I woke screaming. The next morning, Mara came to my door uninvited. "You're remembering," she said, eyes shining with relief. "I knew you would." "Remembering what?" I demanded. She hesitated, then spoke softly. "We were lonely kids. You know how Briar Hollow is. Nothing ever happens. And then we found it." "What?" "Something that wanted to belong." She told me everything. That summer, we'd found a place where the world felt thin, a hollow in the field where sound bent and thoughts echoed back differently. When we spoke together, the air answered. It learned us, our laughter, our fears, our memory. We didn't understand what it was, only that it didn't want to be alone, and that it could hold things we gave it. Pain, secrets, moments too big for children, including the moment when Jonah slipped at the edge of the hole. The fall wasn't deep, but the ground closed. No blood, no scream, just absence. The thing took him, and then it did something worse. It asked for agreement. We could keep living without the loss, if we let it keep the memory, all of it, every shared detail, every face, every moment of that summer. The town accepted. Parents forgot a child they'd raised. Teachers lost names from their books, photos blurred. And one more thing, someone had to leave. Someone had to carry the shape of the memory away so the rest could forget. "That was you," Mara whispered. "You volunteered. You said you didn't mind. You said you'd be back when it was safe." I staggered back, sick. "That's impossible." She touched my forehead gently. "Then why do we all remember the same dream?" That evening, the town gathered, not formally, not announced. They just drifted toward the field. I followed. The grass parted like it recognized us. The hole was there again, open, waiting. The thing rose, not as a creature, but as recognition, a shared feeling thick enough to stand inside. It didn't speak, it didn't need to. The memory rushed back into me all at once. Jonah's voice, the sound he made when he fell, the promise I made to come back. The town breathed together. "Take it again," they asked without words, "so we don't have to." And in that moment, I understood the truth. Briar Hollow didn't share a memory, it shared a burden, and every few decades, it needed someone to hold it alone. I don't remember what choice I made. I only know that if you come to Briar Hollow now, there's a field behind the school no one talks about. And if you listen carefully on summer nights, when the cicadas scream too loud, you might hear children laughing, and one voice among them, slightly older than the rest, saying, "I'll remember for you." So tell me, listener, if a memory could be passed from mind to mind, if forgetting required sacrifice, would you carry it? Or would you let someone else disappear for you? Because somewhere in a quiet town like mine, something is waiting to be remembered again.
My name is Ruth Calder, and I know this sounds impossible, but I need you to stay with me. Because this didn't start as something terrifying. It started as comfort. I moved into Harborview Apartments after my divorce. Concrete building, 12 floors, thin walls, the kind of place where you hear other people living whether you want to or not. At first, the loneliness was unbearable. Nights stretched too long. Sleep felt like a chore instead of rest. Then, one morning, I ran into my neighbor from across the hall, Mrs. Lynn, maybe late 60s, always smelled faintly of tea and lavender. She smiled at me and said, "Did you sleep better last night?" I shrugged. "Actually, yeah. How'd you know?" She nodded, satisfied. We all did. I thought she meant the building was quiet. I didn't realize she meant together. That night I dreamed of standing on a shoreline I'd never visited. Gray water, low fog, the sound of waves breathing in and out like a sleeping animal. I wasn't alone. I could feel others nearby, not see them, just sense them like warmth through a wall. When I woke, my chest felt lighter. For the first time in months, I wasn't tired. In the elevator the next morning, a young man named Caleb, 3rd floor, laughed nervously. "Okay," he said, "this is gonna sound weird. Did anyone else dream about the ocean?" No one laughed. Instead, every person in that elevator slowly turned to look at him. Mrs. Lynn smiled again. "It's starting earlier this time," she said. That was the first time fear crept in. Over the next week, it became undeniable. We were dreaming the same place, same shoreline, same fog, same rhythm of waves. Different details sometimes, a lighthouse closer one night, further away another, but always the same space. And the dreams weren't passive. We could walk, speak, touch. The first time someone said my name in the dream, I woke up crying because I'd felt their hand on my shoulder, real, solid. Soon, people started lingering in the halls in the mornings, comparing notes in hushed voices. "Did you see the fire last night? Who was the child standing near the water? Did it feel closer to you too?" We should have gone to a doctor or the police. Instead, something else happened. We began to sleep better, deeper. The dreams started to fix things. Caleb stopped limping from his old knee injury. Mrs. Lynn said her arthritis barely bothered her anymore. I stopped waking up with my heart racing. Whatever that place was, it soothed us, and it wanted us there longer. One night in the dream, the fog parted, revealing a town, not like ours, but similar enough to feel intentional. Buildings shaped like ours, but smoothed, simplified. Windows glowing softly. No sharp edges, no pain. A man stood at the center, tall, indistinct, like he was made of shadow and moonlight layered together. "This is where you rest," he said. His voice didn't echo, it settled. "What are you?" someone asked. "I am where you meet," he replied, "when you stop carrying things alone." That night, a woman on the 5th floor, Elena, didn't wake up. They said it was peaceful, no signs of struggle, but her body was warm, and her face, she looked rested, content. After that, fear spread, but so did longing. People began choosing to sleep more, skipping work, canceling plans, taking pills, supplements, anything to stay under longer. The building grew quiet during the day, alive only at night. I started losing time. hours passing between blinks, dreams bleeding into waking moments. Sometimes I'd catch myself standing in my living room, staring at the wall, hearing waves where traffic should be. The man in the dream started calling us anchors. "You keep the door open," he told us, "so no one has to be alone again." One night I noticed something horrifying. In the dream town, not everyone was fully formed. Some figures were thin, blurred like sketches not yet finished. I recognized them, neighbors who were still alive, being copied, their presence thinning in the real world as they became permanent in the dream. I confronted Mrs. Lin. She sighed, tired, older than I'd ever seen her. "Ruth," she said gently, "we've been doing this for years. Buildings like this exist everywhere. People share sleep when waking hurts too much." "What happens to the ones who stay?" I asked. She met my eyes. "They rest. And the rest of us? We become quieter," she said, "until it's our turn." That night the man spoke directly to me. "You resist," he said kindly. "Why?" "I resist because it's not rest, it's replacement." He smiled, not cruelly, almost sadly. "Isn't that what sleep always is? A rehearsal for being gone." When I woke, I packed a bag. I tried to leave. The elevator wouldn't respond. The stairs looped. Phones had no signal. That night, I forced myself to stay awake. Lights on, coffee, pain, anything. At 3:12 a.m., I heard footsteps outside my door. Not walking, dragging. A chorus of whispers slipped through the crack beneath the frame. "You're tired. You don't have to carry it alone. Come rest with us." I don't know how long I lasted. I woke on the shoreline. The fog warm, the waves gentle, the town brighter than ever. The man stood beside me, his outline sharper. "You see," he said, "you're already here." I looked down. My hands were translucent. Listener, if you live in an apartment building, if you've ever dreamed the same place twice, ask yourself, are you resting or are you slowly being shared? Because somewhere tonight, a building is going quiet, and something patient is counting how many wake up and how many don't.
If you're still listening, then you're already part of the quiet that follows. Tonight, you didn't hear stories about monsters hiding in the dark or hands reaching from beneath the bed. You heard something far closer, something older, something that's always been learning how to sound like you. Because fear doesn't begin with screams, it begins with agreement. With the moment a thought feels finished before you finish it, with the comfort of not being alone in your own head. Across these two confessions, you heard the same truth spoken through different mouths, that consciousness doesn't need a body to spread, that identity doesn't vanish, it blends, that humanity may not be a collection of voices, but a single sentence still being written. And now, as the silence settles back in around you, notice what lingers. That calm, that clarity, that sense that something understands you a little too well. If a thought rises in your mind right now, pause. Ask yourself, did I think that, or did I simply agree? You've just listened to Mr. Haunting Whispers TV, where stories breathe together in the dark and memory no longer belongs to one. Keep your lights dim, your thoughts slow, your attention guarded, because once a story is shared, it doesn't need to be told again. It only needs to be remembered. Until the next whisper, good night, and thank you for thinking with us.
You've been listening to Mr. Haunting Whispers, where every truth leaves a scar. If the story unsettled you, good. That means you were listening. Subscribe and stay close to the dark, because the next whisper might be for you.